Hi, Paparazzi. My name is Scott, and today I will be presenting the inventory best practices that will help you get the most out of Premiere as a user. Before we get into the features that will allow you to manage your inventory within Premiere, first I want to focus on organization and consistency. Premiere will help you get digitally organized, but it won't be able to help you if you don't know where a piece is when a sale comes in. So, staying physically organized is key to getting the most out of Premiere as a user. We know that consultants all use different systems to manage their inventory physically, and not everyone will use the same system. We're not trying to tell you which system to use within your operation, but we do recommend that you choose a system and stay consistent. We recommend you talk to your sponsors, talk to other consultants, your upline, and figure out what works best for you. And once you choose a system and stay consistent, Premiere will have the digital tools to support whatever system that you choose. So now let's get into some of the inventory management features that will allow you to manage your inventory within Premiere. We're going to go through claim code versus item number, visibility settings, featured items, inventory filtering, share, and the image zoom. So let's discuss how to keep your store organized and running smoothly. So first we have claim code versus item number. So it's crucial to understand the distinction between these two fields because they do both appear with each item in inventory. So first is item number. There is a 6-character limit for the item number, which can be letters or numbers. So an example that is shown on screen here is bin 123. And this field is used by consultants to support their chosen organization system that they use to manage their inventory physically. So an example could be when an item goes into your inventory, you assign it the item number bin 123. And then when an order comes in, you'll be able to see that that item resides in bin 123. So this field is extremely useful for managing your inventory physically and knowing where those pieces are as you fulfill orders. The next field is going to be the claim code, which also has a 6-character limit, but this is going to be strictly numeric, so only numbers. And this is used strictly with reply to buy, which reply to buy is going to be the feature that allows your customers to claim items as you go live on Facebook. And so when you assign a claim code to an item, your customers would comment a claim phrase and a claim code for each individual item that you're showing on your live. They would then be able to claim that item by commenting on that live. So it's a great feature. If you choose to utilize that feature, there is a training within this training library that can help you get all of that set up. But just know the claim code is strictly reply to buy. The item number is going to be used to support your chosen organization system. And one more note about claim code is that you can reuse claim codes that are utilized during your lives, but I would stress do not reuse these codes within a 7-day period. And the reason is lives are going to be shoppable for 7 days, so that if you were able to or if you were to reuse a claim code within that 7-day period, it could cause a customer shopping a previous live to claim the wrong item. So if you're going to reuse a claim code, do that only after 7 days when that live is no longer available. And also, you cannot assign a claim code to another item if the item that it was assigned to first still has quantity in stock. Only after that item goes out of stock, you could then reassign that claim code. The system would not let you if you tried to. So keep that in mind while utilizing claim codes as well. Next, we are going to discuss visibility settings. So item visibility affects whether an item is visible and therefore able to be shopped within your online store. If you're interested in your online store and more detailed description of visibility, I would encourage you to check out the Your Online Store training in this training library as well. But what to know about visibility is it will affect whether these items are visible and able to be shopped. This can be controlled at the item level using the eye icon that appears next to every item within your inventory or while receiving. And if you'd like to more broadly control your visibility settings, you can do so within inventory settings in the Premiere app. So it's shown on screen here. You're going to see inventory settings at the top, and then there is a toggle next to visible. This toggle will affect whether items that are added to your inventory will be visible or not by default. So we're gonna go through the 3 ways in which you can add inventory here in a moment. That those would be receiving, scanning items in, or the inventory import tool. And this toggle is going to affect whether those items are visible or not by default. We've seen consultants leave this toggle on and off. If you were to keep this toggle on, that would make every single item you added visible within your online store immediately, which keeps things very simple. However, Misty does recommend a process for consultants that goes pre-claims, live, recap, premiere. And so if you were to follow this process and you didn't want certain items being shopped in your online store while they're getting pre-claimed or while you're going live, I would recommend you keep this setting off, as it will allow these items to be within your inventory but not visible within your online store. So they're not getting shopped as you're going live or during those other steps. So remember, if that's your process, keep this setting off. The next feature that we are going to discuss is featured items. And what featuring a piece is boosting its visibility so that it's seen first when customers go to your online store, and it's also displayed at the top of your inventory within the Premiere app. So this feature is going to allow you to choose specific items that are featured first within your online store by selecting a star icon when you go to those specific items within inventory or while receiving those items into your store. There's a lot of utilization for this feature. You can feature vintage pieces that may have been put into your inventory a long time ago that may not be seen by as many customers because they're further down the sort order. So by featuring these pieces, you can increase the visibility. Your customers aren't going to know that they're new. They're not new. And it's going to create more excitement, more unique pieces that your customers get to shop. Another way that you could use this feature is to, at the end of your live, say something like, I have to go now, but I had 10 more pieces that I want to show you. They're going to be featured in my online store. Your customers could then navigate to your online store, and those pieces would be displayed at the top of your online store. And they could also filter by which pieces were featured in order to be able to see exactly what you wanted to show them. The next feature that we're going to discuss is the inventory filter. So this is a very easy way that you can quickly see what items are visible, featured, and have a claim code assigned when you're navigating your inventory within the Premiere app. And I'll show you exactly how this works in a demo here in one moment after I switch over to the iPad. So in order to use the inventory filter, we're going to navigate from these top 3 horizontal lines to inventory. And first, I should point out, you can see the visibility setting for this item. So this eye icon here is going to show that this item is visible. The filled star is going to show that this item is featured. And so if you wanted to change the visibility or unfeature this item, you could just select these icons and toggle between the featured and visible states. So let's unfeature this piece. Let's make it not visible. And we need to make sure if we change any of these settings that we select save here at the bottom, or these changes will not be saved. So now we see this item is now no longer visible and no longer featured. I do want to point out also, if I were to scroll down here a little bit and feature another item and click save, we're now going to see that that item hops to the top of my inventory sort here within my app. So featured items will appear at the top. In order to filter your inventory as well, you can select this filter icon in the top left-hand corner. You can then filter based on what is visible, what is featured, and what has a claim code assigned within your store to easily see items within these categories. Another quick tip about how you can utilize the inventory filter would be to select not visible here. This is going to just show me all the items within my store that are not visible. If you were for some reason to change that inventory setting that I discussed earlier to where items were not visible when they were added to your online store, only after sending out the invoices for pre-claims, lives, and your recap, you wanted to turn those items visible, you could do that by selecting the eye icon for each item, right? There's only one item that's showing up here, but if there were a bunch of items, you would select all the eye icons and select save. You also can do this in bulk by selecting these 3 ellipses here in the top right-hand corner. It's going to pull up bulk inventory operations. You could then select change visibility and set all products to visible. Continue. And that's going to allow you to set all of the items that you had received into your inventory and were not visible to visible at once. So that's a great quick tip that you can use. Okay, now we're going to head back to the presentation and continue with features that you can use to manage your inventory. So next we have a Premiere inventory hack that can be extremely useful if you want to search your inventories for specific types of jewelry, right? So using the search guide that's displayed on screen, you can type these 2-character codes into the search bar within inventory, and it's going to pull up all of your necklaces, all of your earrings, your hair clips. I should add that P7 for hair clip is also going to include any of your brooches, and P9 for bracelet is also going to include anklets when you use these codes. But make sure to screenshot this screen, take a photo, and remember these codes because they can be extremely useful if you're looking for all of the necklaces within your inventory in the app. The next feature that we have is the ability to share a specific item. So within your inventory, by any item, you can find a share icon that's going to be native to your device. So for Apple, I believe it's the box with the upward arrow. For Android, it's going to be the 3 dots in the shape of a less than sign. And by selecting that icon, you can share a link to a specific item in your online store with friends, customers, post it to a Facebook group. But by selecting that icon, it's going to show all of the native sharing functionality of your device. A recent enhancement to this feature is also that all items will display preview images in the thumbnail, as you can see on screen, which are much more visually appealing and make sharing these links a lot more enticing to your customers. I should also add that you can share links to bundles, which we'll get to here in a moment. And when you share a link to a bundle, it's going to display up to 4 images of items within that bundle, but obviously less if there are less than 4 items. The next feature is image zoom. This is a pretty self-explanatory feature, but if you select any item within your inventory, by selecting that photo, you can drag your fingers apart and zoom in on that item. It allows you to see a photo of that item much more clearly, which if you have poor eyes like I do, it can be somewhat difficult on those small devices. So make sure to utilize this feature if you want to see a photo of any specific item. Next, we're going to discuss adding inventory. So there are 3 main ways to get inventory into your Premiere app. So those are receiving, scanning to add an item, and the inventory import. But before I get into these 3 ways that you can add inventory, I want to make it very clear. Do not stop yourself from using Premiere because you feel like you need to get all of your inventory into Premiere before you use it. This can feel extremely daunting, especially if you're a consultant who's been with Paparazzi for years and years and you have thousands of items. You can't do that all at once, and I would recommend that you do it a little bit at a time if that's your circumstance, but it's important to know that you don't need to get it all in at the same time before you can use Premiere, and there are many options that you can utilize to use Premiere before you have all your inventory in. This includes adding items to orders on the fly, using the barcode unavailable option for any items that you have where you may not have the barcode anymore, and just remember, add your inventory a little bit at a time and don't feel like it's an overwhelming amount of work. Premiere still has amazing features that you can utilize prior to getting all your inventory loaded in. So moving on to receiving, this is far and away the feature that distinguishes Premiere from other software that you would use to sell your jewelry. Simply by navigating to the receiving tab in your app, you will see all of your wholesale orders from the back office automatically synced over to Premiere. You can then receive all of those items into your inventory with a couple clicks and all of your inventory data updates and comes over to Premiere very cleanly. This includes the price, the description, the product image, weights as well, which can make shipping hassle-free. I would recommend that you watch the Shipping Easy training that's also within this training library. But I should note also that receiving is mobile only at the moment, but it will be coming to the online portal in future updates. I have a couple slides about scan to add and inventory import coming up, so I'll discuss those more in depth then, but a couple more things about receiving first. We do recommend as a best practice that anytime that you have a wholesale order within Premiere, that you receive that into your store immediately. We know some consultants don't like to receive their inventory in immediately because they don't want it being displayed in their online store while they're going live or while items are getting pre-claimed. But I would caution you that if you don't receive inventory into your Premiere app and then it's pre-claimed and sold, and then you receive the inventory in, you may be receiving an item into your store that you don't have. So a best practice would be to always receive all of your items into your Premiere inventory, to change the visibility of those items so they're not also purchased in the online store. The only reason that I could see for not receiving all items in within the receiving tab in Premiere would be if there are packs of items. So like a complete look, for example, where there's multiple items under a single SKU. If you wanted those individual SKUs within Premiere, I would recommend unchecking that within the receiving tab and then adding those specific SKUs to that wholesale order prior to receiving those in. So I can flip over to the app and show you exactly what I mean. So you select these three lines, select receiving. You're going to see all of your wholesale orders that have automatically synced from your back office. By selecting one of these orders, you can see all of the items within that order. As I mentioned earlier, you can affect the visibility settings. You can feature these items. And as I also mentioned, it is best practice to receive all of these items into your inventory. In order to do this, you would select Mark All Items as Received. That's going to check all of these items. But as I mentioned, if there was a specific item that you didn't want to receive into your inventory, let's say it wasn't in the order for example, you could uncheck that item and it wouldn't be received in. Or, as I also mentioned, if you had a complete look or something else that you wanted to receive in individual SKUs, you could uncheck that item and then select this icon in the top corner of that order. By selecting this, it's going to show your device camera. You could then scan a barcode. You could also select manually enter barcode, type the SKU in here, or if you have a wireless Bluetooth scanner hooked up to your device, you could also scan the barcode, and that scanner basically acts as a keyboard emulator, so it would just spit out all the text here for that SKU, and you could have those individual items within your order. I'm gonna X out of this. There we go. Cancel back. There we go. And then once you're satisfied with all of the items within this order, you can select Receive Order at the bottom, and that's going to allow you to receive all of those items into your inventory. All right, I'm going to hop back to the presentation, and we can move on to importing inventory. So importing inventory is another way that you can get inventory into your Premiere app. This can be done only on a laptop or computer through the back office. So you're going to navigate to the back office. You're going to find this Premiere tab that's shown on screen, and you're going to navigate down to Personal Inventory Management. From there, there's a specific file format that needs to be followed in order to import inventory. This includes a spreadsheet that is saved as a CSV file with columns for SKU, quantity of piece, and item number. And if you're wondering exactly what this format looks like, you can navigate to the screen that I mentioned earlier within Personal Inventory Management, and there will be a selection for Download Premiere CSV. From there, you could select that, and that's going to download a spreadsheet of all of the items within your Premiere inventory. And by viewing that spreadsheet, you can see exactly the format that would be needed to upload into your store. This tool has a few common applications. The first would be if you wanted to clear all of the inventory out of your Premiere store, you could download your Premiere CSV. You could then remove all of the SKUs, all of the data from that spreadsheet basically, and then re-upload it into this. You would remove all of the quantity for those SKUs, save it, and then re-upload it into this personal inventory management portal. This would remove all of the items from your Premiere inventory. The next common application would be cycle counting or bulk updates to your inventory. So let's say that you have all of your inventory physically organized and you want to check whether the quantities within Premiere match what you physically have. You could go through your physical inventory, look at the quantity that's listed on that CSV file that I mentioned you can download. And if there were any discrepancies or changes that need to be made, update those quantities and then re-upload that file, and that will change all of those quantities at once within Premiere. And the other common application for this tool would be if you're using another platform and want to get all of your items within Premiere. You can download the item data from another platform in a spreadsheet. You'll probably need to change the formatting of that file in some way to match what I mentioned earlier. So columns, again, with SKU, quantity, and item number. You could then upload that file with all of the data from that other system, and it would paste everything into your Premiere inventory. And one last application that I should mention is you can use this tool to upload your historical wholesale orders into Premiere. So as I just showed you, you can receive your inventory that you purchase wholesale in your back office into Premiere automatically. Those orders are sent over to Premiere from the back office and you receive those orders in. However, only orders that were made after you set up your Premiere account and set up your merchant account with ProPay will be loaded into your app. So any orders that you made prior to using Premiere will not appear within that receiving tab. If you wanted to get those orders into Premiere, you could go to the historical wholesale orders within the back office, download a Premiere CSV for each wholesale order. I would recommend that once you download that CSV file for a historical wholesale order, that you combine all of the wholesale orders you want to upload. The caveat with this is you would then have to reference your physical inventory and say, well, I ordered 10 quantity of this piece, a year ago. Do I still have 10 on hand? You would have to update those quantities, obviously, for what you actually have within your physical inventory. You could then upload all of those historical orders and the quantity for those pieces into Premiere very easily using this tool. Here's another a photo of exactly what that screen will look like in your back office. So if you wanted to paste a file, you would you could drag and drop it into this window. You could also select Browse Files and find that file on your computer. Moving on to scanning to add inventory. So this is the third way that I mentioned that you can add inventory into Premiere. The first way you can do this is using your device's camera. So a few tips for this would be have good lighting while you're trying to scan barcodes. Straighten the packaging and label if it's not scanning, and use a sheet of white paper if all else fails and a barcode's not scanning. It's a great tip. And I'll hop over to the app here in a moment to show you exactly where you can do this. But before that, the other way to scan to add inventory would be to use a wireless Bluetooth scanner. On screen are a couple Bluetooth scanners that we have used during testing, and they've worked well. However, any Bluetooth scanner that you purchase and connect to your device should be perfectly fine. Bluetooth scanning can be very useful in scanning items into inventory, as we're discussing now. However, it can also be very useful for creating orders and scanning customer barcodes. Autumn discusses this more in depth during her invoicing and fulfillment training, which is also available in this training library. But basically, you can download customer barcodes from the online portal in the Customers tab. And creating an order would then basically be scanning a customer barcode, scanning all the item barcodes, and fulfilling that order very easily. So keep that in mind if you have a Bluetooth scanner, and check out that training. I'll now hop over to the app and show you exactly where you can scan to add your inventory. So within the app, we're going to choose the 3 horizontal lines in the top left-hand corner. We're going to select inventory, and then we are going to select this scan to add inventory icon in the top right-hand corner. By selecting this, you'll see my device's camera is pulling up now. You could scan barcodes with this camera. If you have a wireless Bluetooth scanner, you can select this keyboard, scan your item in, and select Add Item. And so this is how you can easily scan specific pieces into your inventory. If you have a large inventory of items that aren't within Premiere, this can be extremely useful if you have the barcodes. If not, consider using the barcode unavailable option to sell those pieces. If you really wanted to get specific items into Premiere, however, you could reference your historical wholesale orders as well, and then use the inventory import tool as I discussed a moment ago. All right, moving on to the next feature, which is custom bundles. This is a very new and exciting feature, which was very highly requested at convention a couple years ago. And it's now here. So this feature is going to allow you to create your own custom sets with up to 20 pieces that are grouped together and sold as a single unit. So this allows you to create unique bundles and sets that are only available within your store, which is a more unique and interesting shopping experience for your customers. I would definitely recommend that you utilize bundles to sell more. The bottom line is this feature is going to help you ratchet up those ticket prices and create more profit. So utilize this feature. I will hop over to the app and show you exactly how to create a product bundle. We are within the inventory tab here. By selecting bundles in this top middle bar, we can then see all of our available bundles. In order to create a new bundle, we're going to select create bundle here at the bottom. Then we will be able to set a bundle name with up to 50 characters. We'll be able to include a bundle description if we would like. Here is the share icon for sharing that bundle. This would be different on an Android device. This is the icon for iOS. You can then set an item number and a claim code as we discussed for this bundle. Lastly would be configuring the settings specifically to this bundle, so we can choose whether this bundle will be visible in our online store. It's also important to note that if a bundle is visible, it is going to be shown among your other items in that Shop All tab within your online store. You can then choose if this bundle should be featured, so it would be shown first in your online store by toggling this here. And then lastly, we have items available separately online. So what this setting does is it controls whether the items within a bundle are going to be able to be purchased separately online. And this only applies to online. You will always be able to sell items separately that are within a bundle while invoicing or selling in person. This is strictly going to control whether these items are visible and able to be purchased separately within your online store. And then lastly, the final thing to do to create this bundle would be to add some items. So let's create a bundle here. I'll make this Wayru 1, and I'll add a couple items to my bundle. So we got one of these, and one of these. This screen brings up another really important note about bundles. You can add multiple of the same item to a bundle. So let's say that I wanted to add 2 of these to this bundle. That is completely possible. It's also very popular for consultants if they want to have bracelet stacks, for example. They would include 2 of the same bracelet. And the on-hand quantity is going to be dependent of the quantity of the items within the bundle. So just for example, if I had 10 quantity of one item within a bundle, but there were 2 of that item within a specific bundle, the system's going to automatically calculate that you have 5 on hand for that bundle. If I were then to sell one of those items individually, so I only had 9 on hand, the system would automatically calculate you can only fulfill 4 of those bundles. So those underlying quantities are going to determine how many bundles you have on hand. It's also important to note that once you create a bundle, if any item within that bundle goes out of stock, that bundle will no longer be available. So I just selected Save Bundle here. We're going to go back to this screen. We're going to see our new bundle here at the top. We can see the available quantity here of 71. If I were to sell out of any of those items within that bundle, it would just no longer be available and listed within this screen. All right, so hopping back over to the presentation, we're going to move on to custom collections, which this is another very new and exciting feature, something that's been very highly requested. What a collection is a curated group of related items that are displayed within your online store. So you create a collection, you name that collection, and that name will be displayed in the navigation within your online store under collections. Any of the items that you add to that collection would then be displayed on that page. And we've seen consultants utilize collection for a number of themes, including new arrivals, seasonal collections, holidays. There's really no limit to how you can utilize collections within your online store. It's definitely a very interesting and personalized way for you to set your online store apart from other online stores. So definitely utilize these collections to organize your items in a more interesting way. So now I'm going to hop back over to the app and I can show you exactly how to create a collection within inventory. So we were just creating a bundle. I'm going to select collections here on the top right. It's going to show us all of our enabled collections that are available in our online store. So remember, these will be under the collections tab in your online store. If I want to create a new collection, I would select create collection here at the bottom. I could then add a collection name. I can toggle this for whether I want this collection to be enabled and shoppable. This is a very interesting feature as well. This allows you to set a start and end date for a collection. So this start date is going to be automatically filled depending on when you set this collection, when you create it. This end date would determine exactly when this collection would no longer be available. And these features can be very useful if you have a collection that you only want available for a certain time. So for example, if I wanted to create a Christmas in July collection and I only wanted it available during July, I could have set this to July 1st at 12 a.m. and the end date of July 31st at 11:59 p.m. and then this collection would only be available during the month of July. So this is a very useful feature for controlling when those collections are available. The next feature of collections is the VIP collection toggle here. And what this does is it allows you to determine whether a collection is going to be listed in the navigation in your online store. If a collection is toggled to VIP, customers are only going to be able to shop this collection if you share the custom collection link with them that would be generated here after you created a collection. So this is a way to create exclusive groups of items that are only shoppable by certain customers. I should note that any items that are within a VIP collection will not be displayed in other places within your online store. So just keep that in mind while creating these collections. But let's go ahead and create a collection. We'll name this one Back to School. And we'll have the start date here automatically set. We'll have that enabled. We'll make this a VIP collection. And then we'll add some items here. So I'm going to select one of those, that. Here we are. And click done. I'll then save this collection. After saving this collection, you can see that this collection link was automatically generated. You could then copy this link by selecting the share icon here, which would allow you to copy the link, share to different apps that are within your device. You could also just select this text as well and copy it that way. If I go back, we're going to be able to see this collection right at the top with this VIP distinguishing button here as well. And that is how you create a collection. So I'm going to hop back over to the presentation. And lastly, we're going to go through some FAQs and commonly asked questions about your inventory. So first, do bundles take inventory out of stock? They do not. You can choose to make bundles or to make items within bundles separately available for purchase online, as I noted earlier. But remember, a bundle is just a way to sell multiple items as a single unit. It's not going to take anything out of stock. You don't need to move any of your inventory. It's just a way to have customers purchase multiple items at once. You would then fulfill that order just like you would fulfill any other order. Do I have to import all of my inventory into Premiere before I can start selling? No, absolutely not. As I mentioned, you can use the barcode unavailable feature. You can scan to add items to orders as you create them. There are a number of options for utilizing Premiere and selling without having all of your items within inventory. And for more information about this, join that invoicing and fulfillment training that's also within this training library here. And then lastly, I just got started with Premiere. Where are all my wholesale orders? As I mentioned, any wholesale order that's placed before you created a Premiere account and got a merchant account with ProPay will not be within your app. You can access those orders by going to your historical wholesale orders in your back office, as I mentioned earlier as well. Thank you all so much. I hope this helps in managing your inventory more efficiently, and I hope you enjoy using Premiere.